USS Swordfish, a Sargo-class submarine, holds a storied place in the annals of U.S. Navy history as a pioneer in undersea warfare and one of the most successful submarines of World War II. Named after the swift and powerful swordfish, a predator of the oceans recognized for its speed and agility, Swordfish lived up to her namesake's reputation during a service career marked by daring missions, significant combat achievements, and ultimate sacrifice. Laid down on October 27, 1937 at Mare Island Navy Yard in Vallejo, California, Swordfish was launched on April 3, 1939, sponsored by Miss Louise Shaw Hepburn. She was commissioned on July 22, 1939, under the command of Lieutenant Chester C. Smith, who would later achieve the rank of Rear Admiral. As the first submarine to bear the name, Swordfish represented a new chapter in the U.S. Navy's development of undersea warfare capabilities, transitioning from interwar experimentation to the formidable force that would become crucial during World War II. The Sargo-class submarines to which Swordfish belonged were state-of-the-art vessels for their time, boasting advanced diesel-electric propulsion, improved torpedo systems, and extended operational range compared to earlier designs. At 310 feet in length, Swordfish displaced 1,450 tons surfaced and 2,350 tons submerged. She could achieve a top speed of 21 knots on the surface and 8.75 knots underwater. Armed with 8 21-inch torpedo tubes, 4 forward and 4 aft, deck guns, and anti-aircraft weaponry, she was well equipped for her dual roles of offensive strike and reconnaissance. After her commissioning, Swordfish underwent rigorous shakedown cruises and training exercises along the west coast of the United States. Operating from her base in San Diego, she participated in fleet maneuvers, refining her crew's skills in submarine tactics, navigation, and combat readiness. By early 1941, with tensions rising in the Pacific, she was transferred to the Pacific Fleet and based at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, in preparation for potential conflict. On November 3, 1941, Swordfish departed Pearl Harbor alongside 3 other submarines, bound for Manila in the Philippine Islands. This move was part of the U.S. Navy's strategic redeployment to bolster its presence in the Western Pacific as relations with Japan deteriorated. Arriving on November 22, Swordfish took up station at Cavite Navy Yard, ready to defend American interests in the Philippines. The Japanese surprise attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, catapulted the United States into World War II. Although the attack devastated the surface fleet at Pearl Harbor, the submarine force remained intact, providing the U.S. Navy with a critical means of striking back. In the Philippines, the submarine fleet, including Swordfish, became the primary offensive weapon against Japanese forces as they advanced across Southeast Asia. On December 8, 1941, the day after the attack on Pearl Harbor, Swordfish departed Manila for her first war patrol, operating off the coast of Hainan, China. This patrol marked the beginning of her wartime career and set the tone for her aggressive and effective operations. Between the 9th and 16th of December, Swordfish engaged multiple enemy vessels, damaging several and achieving her first confirmed kill on the 16th of December, the Japanese cargo ship Atsuta-san Maru. This sinking, accomplished with a well-placed torpedo strike amidships, marked the first time a U.S. submarine sank an enemy ship during World War II. The success of her first patrol earned Swordfish a place in history and highlighted the vital role submarines would play in countering Japanese maritime dominance. Her actions demonstrated the potential of undersea warfare to disrupt enemy supply lines and challenge the powerful Japanese Navy. Swordfish's second war patrol began on January 16, 1942, in the Celebes Sea in Philippine waters. Early in the patrol, she sank the 4,124-ton cargo ship Mayokan Maru near Kima Celebes Islands. However, her most notable achievement during this mission was a humanitarian operation of extraordinary importance. As Japanese forces tightened their grip on the Philippines, Swordfish was tasked with evacuating key Philippine government officials, including President Manuel L. Quezon, his family, Vice President Sergio Osmeña, and Chief Justice José Abad Santos. The evacuation was fraught with danger. Navigating through heavily mined waters and evading enemy patrols, Swordfish successfully transported her distinguished passengers to safety. This mission demonstrated the versatility of submarines not only as weapons of war, but also as lifelines for embattled allies. In the months that followed, Swordfish continued to distinguish herself in combat. Her third war patrol in April 1942 included an attempt to deliver 40 tons of supplies to the besieged island of Corregidor. Although the mission was aborted due to the island's fall, Swordfish shifted her focus to offensive patrols near Ambon Island. Her fourth patrol saw significant success in the South China Sea, where she sank Asakaze Maru, Tatsufuku Maru, and Burma Maru. These operations highlighted her ability to strike effectively against Japanese shipping, contributing to the Allied effort to weaken Japan's logistical network. Between 1942 and 1943, Swordfish completed additional patrols in the Solomon Islands, the Celebes Sea, and the Palau-Truk-Rabal area. Notable engagements included the sinking of Miyoho Maru, Nishiyama Maru, and Tenkai Maru. These successes underscored her value as a persistent and effective adversary in the Pacific. Despite her successes, Swordfish faced numerous challenges, including equipment failures, harsh operating conditions, and the constant threat of enemy attack. During her 10th war patrol in Tokyo Bay, she encountered severe technical difficulties, including radar malfunctions and electrical fires. Nevertheless, she managed to sink the passenger cargo ship Yamakuni Maru, the Q-ship Delhi Maru, and the auxiliary gunboat Kasagi Maru. These victories demonstrated her crew's skill and resourcefulness under pressure. USS Swordfish embarked on her 13th war patrol on the 22nd of December 1944, departing Pearl Harbor under the command of Commander Keats Edmund Monty Montross. This mission, like many of her previous assignments, was fraught with peril. The submarine's primary objective was to patrol the waters around the Nansei Shoto Island chain, a region critical to Japanese defenses, while also conducting photographic reconnaissance of Okinawa. This reconnaissance was part of the Allied preparations for the forthcoming invasion of the island, a key step in the Pacific Campaign. Tragically, Swordfish would not return from this mission, and her fate remains one of the enduring mysteries of the Second World War. After refueling at Midway Atoll on December 26, 1944, Swordfish resumed her journey toward her assigned patrol area. On January 2, 1945, she received orders to delay her tasks to avoid the Nansei Shoto area during scheduled carrier-based airstrikes. She was directed to patrol near 30 degrees north, 132 degrees east, until further instructions. Swordfish acknowledged these orders on January 3rd, marking the last communication ever received from the submarine. The absence of further contact was not immediately alarming, as wartime submarine operations often involved prolonged periods of radio silence to maintain stealth. However, when repeated attempts to contact Swordfish went unanswered and she failed to report her position or status, concerns grew. By February 15, 1945, the submarine was officially presumed lost with all 89 crew members. A tantalizing clue to Swordfish's disappearance surfaced from the patrol report of USS Keat, another U.S. submarine operating near Okinawa at the time. On the morning of January 12, 1945, Keat detected a submarine on radar at approximately 27 degrees north, 128 degrees 40 east. The contact was believed to be Swordfish, as no other U.S. submarines were reported in the area. Hours later, Keat reported hearing a series of intense depth-charge explosions nearby, raising speculation that Japanese anti-submarine forces had targeted Swordfish. Japanese records from the time, however, offer no definitive confirmation of an attack on a submarine on that date. Without corroborating evidence, this theory remains plausible but unproven. The timing and location of the attack are consistent with Swordfish's expected movements, but the lack of physical evidence leaves the matter unresolved. Another highly plausible explanation for Swordfish's loss involves the extensive minefields laid by Japanese forces around Okinawa. These mines were strategically deployed in anticipation of an Allied invasion and posed a significant hazard to submarines and surface vessels alike. Submarines, particularly those operating near the shore, were vulnerable to both contact mines and newer magnetic mines, which could detonate without physical contact. It is possible that Swordfish, while attempting to approach Okinawa for her reconnaissance mission, struck a mine and was lost with all hands. This theory is supported by the knowledge that the region was heavily mined, and the lack of any definitive combat-related Japanese claims against a U.S. submarine during this period aligns with the possibility of an accidental loss. In addition to the primary theories of depth charge attacks and mines, other less likely scenarios have been considered. Mechanical failure or accident. Submarines of the era were complex machines operating under extreme conditions. A catastrophic internal failure, such as an engine explosion, flooding from a hull breach, or a fire, could have led to Swordfish's loss without external involvement. Collision. Although unlikely given her area of operation, it is possible that Swordfish collided with another vessel, either friendly or enemy, resulting in her destruction. However, there are no records to support such an incident. Undocumented Japanese attack. While Japanese records from the period are relatively comprehensive, it is not impossible that an attack on Swordfish occurred and went unrecorded or was lost in the chaos of the war's final months. Following the war, the Joint Army-Navy Assessment Committee and other investigative bodies reviewed Japanese records to determine the causes of submarine losses. While many incidents were resolved, Swordfish's disappearance remained inconclusive. Japanese reports made no mention of submarine attacks in her patrol area on or around the 12th of January 1945, nor did they indicate the recovery of wreckage that might have belonged to her. Some historians have speculated that Swordfish may have been the submarine responsible for sinking the Japanese cargo ship Shotomaru on January 4, 1945. Japanese sources attribute this sinking to an unidentified submarine, followed by a counterattack by the escort ship Kaibokan CD-4. If Swordfish was indeed responsible, she may have been lost during this engagement. However, this theory conflicts with her last reported position and the timing of her disappearance, leaving it speculative at best. Among those lost with Swordfish was her executive officer, Lieutenant Commander John Briscoe Pye, the son of Vice Admiral William S. Pye, who had briefly served as Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Pacific Fleet following the attack on Pearl Harbor. The tragedy of Swordfish's loss was compounded by the Pye family's earlier grief. Another son, Lieutenant William Satterley Pye, had died in a mid-air collision in 1938. The loss of Swordfish reverberated throughout the Navy, affecting not only the families of the crew but also the broader submarine community. Over her 12 completed war patrols, Swordfish sank 21 enemy ships totaling 113,100 tons and damaged 8 more. She earned 8 battle stars and the Navy Unit Commendation for her exemplary service. Her pioneering efforts and combat achievements established her as one of the most notable submarines of World War II. A memorial to Swordfish stands in St. Paul, Minnesota, near Como Park Zoo and Conservatory. The site features a torpedo mounted on a stand, with plaques honoring her crew and all U.S. submarines lost during the war. This tribute ensures that the bravery and sacrifices of her crew are remembered and celebrated.